Well, it went a long time ago. I was about 12, I think, 12, 13. And it was when there used to be the Coppa Intereuropa in Monza. There used to be an historic event, obviously. And there used to be the TGP grid, this thoroughbred Grand Prix car, before Masters took over with the Formula One. It used to be this grid. And a friend of my stepfather raced in the TGP grid with the Brabham BT49.
Okay.
And the car was looked after by this English team, Simon Hadfield Motorsport. And so I went to Monza and I met Simon, and I got introduced in the world of historic motor racing, because I wasn't really, I didn't know it really, because at 12 I was looking at what the modern motorsport was, and I fell in love straight away. And Simon gave me the chance to polish the car. And my stepfather, actually, he was the one that went to Simon and said, why don't you take Davide for a summer experience? So he learns English and learns how to work on the cars. And that was it. So from 1996, that was the first year I went to Simon. And since then I went every summer up until 2004, when I finished high school. And I went to university, actually, 1 year. That was the best year of my life, because I didn't do anything, just, you know, play with friends and everything. And my mother actually said, well, I'm not one of those parents that wants you to be at university for good, but if you want to go and work and have a work experience, just go. So Simon said to me that exact summer, he said, why don't you come for a year rather than just 1 month? So I took the chance, and in January 2005 I moved to Simon Hadfield, and I stayed there for 4 years, actually, not 1. And so then when I actually learned everything about historic motors.
Study
Well, I was actually working on the car. I arrived in 2005. Well, during the summer experience, let's say, I was just helping out, obviously, because I didn't have the experience to actually work on my own on the car, even if it was giving me the chance all the time, and I took it. But mainly I was helping out all the other mechanics with all the cars that Simon had at the time. And in 2005 I moved, and I spent 1 year just next to one guy that used to look after Frank Sittner in the T70 and Joachim Forsch in the Williams. And so I did the whole season just with him, being, let's say, the number 2. And from the end of 2005, Simon gave me the chance to have my own car, let's say, so looking after one car and one customer. And since then, I grew up, and he gave me more and more cars to look after and customer to look after, and that's it. And since then, I worked on race cars.
But you said I did 1 year at university, but you didn't do education in technique.
Oh no! It was I can't even remember what was it. I think it was communication or something. But really, I probably did one exam. It was story of the television. That's the only exam I did. I passed it, and that's it. But it was just a fun year, let's say, a sabbatical year.
So you really learned everything
at Simon's, yeah. The guys that worked at Simon at the time, I'm saying worked because now in 2025, I think there's only one guy left because all the others are retired. Some of them passed away, bless them. But they were great guys. They were guys with huge experience because they actually worked on those cars in period, and so and Simon himself, exactly. And I remember that everyone was gave me an input on something. from fabricating to aerodynamics and setups, to hydraulics and gearboxes and how everything works, on restoration, on how to do a proper restoration from A to Z. So from stripping to repairing to cleaning and to rebuild. And I will be thankful for the rest of my life for the experience that I had there, because it was humanly and professionally was a massive help for me. And at the end of 2008, I decided to come back to Italy, because I was, in 2008, I was 27. And I said, I woke up one morning and I said, I love what I'm doing, but it's the only thing I've done in all my life. I want to try something else, to see if historic motorsport is actually what I want. And my father gave me the opportunity to go and work for him. He used to have a steel company, a trading company. He was buying steel from China and Russia and Egypt and was selling it in Italy. And I said, okay, let's take it. So I came back to Italy. I did 3 years like that. And then I said, no, historic motorsport is what I want to do. And actually Simon said that to me straight away. When I went to him and said, I'm quitting because I want to do something else, he said, is the worst decision you can make, but it's your life, so you go. And he was right. It was a bad decision. In a way that it wasn't what I wanted to do. He knew already that historic motorsport was my life. But I have to say that he helped me a lot those 3 years, because I understood how to run a company. Because the company was my father's and I actually took over on running it. So he gave me a lot of input on how to run a company. And so when I was in England, I met this guy, Enrico Spaggiari, that is actually my business partner, because RS Historics is Riparbelli Spaggiari. And Enrico, we met in Monza at the Coppa Europa, because he was doing a working experience with Classic Team Lotus. And we met on the pit wall because I dropped the pen, and he came to me and in English said, you dropped the pen. And I said, yeah, I know, sorry, I will take it later. And then we realized that we were Italian, and since then we actually created our friendship. And he started racing in a Cooper Bristol, and then in a Cooper Monaco in the GPCA. He actually won the championship with the GPCA. And then he was racing a Mustang as well. And when we met in Goodwood Revival, the last time I did Goodwood with Simon in 2008, we met, and I said to him, I said, well, I'm planning to go back to Italy. And he said, well, if you come back to Italy and you want, we can start our own company. And I said, well, that's a good idea, but let's see. So after those 3 years where I work with my father, and then I realized that historic motorsport was still my thing, I called him and said, so, are you ready? And he said, yeah, okay. So we made a sort of very not accurate business plan, and we said, okay, let's do it. And we started.
And you started with what kind of car?
I started actually very funny. The first car we had was a Mini Cooper S, owned by Andrea Stortoni. There is a racer today. He races a Lotus 18 in the GPCA, and he's got a Lotus 11 as well. He's a friend. He was a friend of Enrico. Now he's a friend of both of us. And when we said we're going to start our own company, he said, I'm joining you. So he was the first actual customer. We went to Monza for the Coppa Europa. That's the first race we did. And in Monza, we got, when Enrico already knew him, but I got introduced to Federico Burratti. That is my longest customer, because he had the Lotus 21. That is the first ever car that I ran on my own at Simon's, because it used to be a customer's was owned by Simon's customer, and so he brought the car to us. We went to Good Revival in 2013. That's when we started our company, and since then he's my customer. He now has a Lotus 24. He sold the 21 and has a Lotus 24. He's in the UK now because he's going to Autumn Park for the RRM anniversary. And yeah, so we started with the Mini and the Lotus 21. And then we started to get known by people. Well, I pretty much knew everyone in the world of historic motorsport because of the time I spent with Simon. But we started knowing also the new guy coming into historic motorsports. Obviously, all Italians, but the problem is, and I'm not afraid to say it, Italians are not historic race drivers. They like to have the cars. There are a lot of beautiful cars in Italy, but standing in garages. They don't go racing. They go to events where they can show the cars, but they don't go racing. So
it's more concours elegance.
Yeah, or just show off to friends what they have, basically. And so luckily we have probably two of the few proper racing enthusiasts. There is Andrea and Federico, because they actually love going racing. But we tried with other Italians, and there's always been a little bit of yeah, we do programs, we do this, we do that, but then it was going to nothing. So we had a little bit of difficulties to start with. The first years were really difficult because we didn't have enough customers to actually run the company. So both of us were doing also something else and not just concentrating on RS Historics. But then we sort of got introduced to Fred Lajou. That is one of our biggest customers, and he's been probably the first customer we had that actually committed for a full season. So he's racing with this March. Well, now it's all stripped because we are changing the tab. But since he's with us, so 2020, he's been doing 2021, sorry, he's been doing every season a full season. So we managed to get seen by other people, and from then, obviously, the word starts circulating, and people started to know us and calling us and saying, "What are you doing?" And
yeah, it now grows because
yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, we met also another customer of ours, that is Chris Milner. He actually is the guy that sold the 24 to our customer Federico, and he moved to Italy and said, I know that you are the guys that are running the 24. I have a Cobra, a Lister and a Jaguar, and I would like to bring the car to Italy, and I would like you to run them. That ended up with just the Cobra because he sold the other cars meanwhile. And so we started doing some of the Peter Auto events with the Cobra. So even there, they started to seeing us. And now he sold the Cobra because he wanted to go modern. So he bought a Huracan, and we're doing the Italian GT with it. And that is very, well, Louis will talk about the Italian GT because it's something completely different to historic motor racing. And then probably the funniest customer, the funniest way of being introduced to a customer is with Alejandro Chawan. He's the owner of this March 811. He's Argentinian, and you think, how did you get introduced to an Argentinian? It's because my best friends from, I think, since I was born, they are Argentinian, and a friend of them is a car enthusiast, and he's a friend of Alejandro, and he wanted to do Monaco, and he said, do you know anyone in Europe that can run the car in Monaco? And he said, yes, I know this person in Italy. And that was 2020 during COVID. And so we got introduced, we liked each other, and he said, okay, I'll take the car to you. And so here it is. And then he bought, last year he bought the Spice. And it's an ever-growing thing. So I am very pleased with what we have now, because if I think of what we were, not in 2013 when we started, but like in 2019 before COVID, we were really struggling. And now walking into the workshop and see all the cars we have is a big satisfaction. I feel proud of myself, I have to say it, because of what we managed to all together. It's not just me, obviously. It's all the mechanics, Louis, my business partner, all together. We fought and we managed to get where we are now.
Because also this place where we are now, you're not so long here.
No, we moved here in January, basically 2025, so 6 months ago. And this is actually probably the first place we moved in where we did everything as we wanted. In the way that when we moved in, this was just a warehouse, a deposit. So there was nothing, there was not electricity, there was nothing. So we actually started from zero. We painted it the way we wanted, we did all the electricity as we wanted, all the furniture we bought it new. We made it the way I always wanted to have a workshop, because all the other places I've been where, it wasn't a definitive place. I knew that from the start. And so it always was nice, obviously, because I like to work in a nice environment, but never the way I wanted. And this is it, and I'm really pleased.
But also because you didn't have the opportunity to work efficient.
No, exactly. And here, with all the cars we have and all the things we have here is just a different thing, obviously.
And what do you have now as plan for the upcoming years? How do you see the future with your work?
Well, the future of the problem we have in historic motorsports is very simple. For all the customers, it's a passion, it's a game. So tomorrow morning they can wake up and say, I'm done with it. And all of a sudden you have from 2, 3, 4 customers. So you have to be very, very careful, because you need to plan everything in advance, because everything can happen. I'm not saying names, but I know of teams where they had customers that concentrated on just one customer with like 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, and then this customer all of a sudden stopped, and they were like, oh, what are we doing now? So I rather concentrate on different customers with fewer cars. So if one guy decides to stop for any reason, is 1 car off, or 2 cars maximum. It's not like 7 cars. So the customers I have, luckily, they are, at the moment, I think they are customers that they want to carry on racing for as long as they can. They're not old, they're all in the 60s, so plenty of time to keep racing, or even in the 50s. We got a customer with the Martini Formula 3 that has my age, so that's hopefully is a good future, yeah. But for what we have and all the plans we have and all the plans that are in my customer's head, I see a good future. If you ask me about future of historic motorsports, I can't give you an answer, because
But what is your feeling with it? How it develops at the moment?
Sorry?
How is your feeling how it develops at the moment?
I think historic motorsport today is probably as important as modern motorsport. Okay, the amount of cars that you see around. You look at Le Mans Classic, 700 cars, okay? They do, what was it, 230,000 spectators, okay? Same as the Le Mans 24 hours. Yeah, people can say it's a one-off because it's every 2 years. Well, okay, from next year it's going to be every year, but it's every 2 years. It's like Monaco historic, okay? At Monaco, you see F1s, Formula 1s that you don't see anywhere else. You see them just in Monaco. And you think, why do we have grids of 20 cars during the year? And then we have 4 grids of 30 cars at Monaco. So 4 grids per 30 cars is 120. Yeah, is 120 cars. So why are there only 20 cars racing during the year? I think historic motorsport should stop one moment. All the organizers should stop and say, okay, how was it 20 years ago? Why 20 years ago was much more, yeah. I mean, I remember with TGP, there were grids of 30, 40 cars, okay? Obviously the prices have raised hugely. Okay, they offer a lot. Okay, all the organizers offer a lot. They have the hospitality, they have nice gadgets, they go to nice circuits and everything, but not everyone can afford to do a full season like that. Okay. Second is lack of track time. With TGP, I'm doing TGP because we are next to the Formula One, so I remember all there was back in 20 years ago, 25 years ago. You had 3 practice, 2 qualifying, warm-up, and a 45 minutes race. Okay, 5 sessions. It was a lot of track time, and all the drivers loved to do that. Circuits, they were going to the great circuits of Formula One. We used to go to Silverstone, Donington, Brands Hatch, talking about UK, but then Europe, Spa, Monza, Nürburgring, all the best circuits in Europe, they were touched by Formula One. Now, yes, they still go to some of these circuits, but the problem, I think, is sometimes they're too close one to the other, the events, or too far away. And the transport cost and Brexit, all of these things together, cost of tires, cost of fuel, you have to go to them to buy tires, you have to go to them, through the organizers to buy the fuel. Once, I remember for the Formula One, we would go into the petrol station, 95 octane, a little bit of CVL, off you go, you were going racing. Now you need to buy the fuel from them. And all these things together, I think they took to the point where some of the guys, because I know some of them are not the people that have a lot of cars. They don't go racing for this reason. And I think organizers should stop and understand that they need to change something. I don't know what, because I'm not an organizer, okay? But from the back, I can see why customers are not happy and why they decide not to go racing.
When I take Le Mans Classic as an example, some editions ago, you still had 4 sessions from 52 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And now you have only
3 sessions of
from 42 or 40.
Is 40, they say 45, but then it's always less than 45. And that was the other thing, that if you were, we went to Le Mans Classic with the Group C, and all you could hear from both team members and some drivers was that for the amount of money we paying, the lack of time and obviously Le Mans is very different because, you know, being able to organize an event like that is difficult, okay? But at the same time, if you ask for that amount of money, you should be able to organize something that can justify that amount of money. And yeah, you had 700 cars, yes, you had 230,000 spectators, so on the paper, it was a success. But from the inside, I can assure you, it wasn't.
Yeah, you really heard a lot of complaints.
Yeah, it wasn't. But they don't listen to those complaints. Because they look at the fact that they had 700 cars, They had 230,000 spectators. I don't know how many between clubs and reseller. I mean, it was a mega weekend.
Yeah.
Mega weekend. I can't say it wasn't good. It was fantastic. But they just look at numbers at the moment.
It feels a bit that the spectators are more important than the people that make.
Yeah, but they don't understand that without these people, spectators are not going to be there. And I'm filterless in this interview, okay? So I don't care what people will say. Zandvoort, okay, used to be probably same as Silverstone, the best weekend of the year.
It was a real experience.
Yeah, I mean Zandvoort. When I did Zandvoort like 3 or 4 times, and I think every time was better. This year I went to Zandvoort and I felt sorry for the amount of spectators that were there. It was the amount of spectators is huge in Zandvoort. All the grandstands were full. For what? 20 cars, 22 cars, about 22 cars in the Formula 2 race. So the single seaters actually were the good grids, but we're talking about 20 cars, 30 cars maximum. Then there was the Dutch grid. That was mega. The touring cars and GT, that was fantastic to watch. And it was like 40, 45 cars. But then the main organizer was Masters. And they had to put touring cars and GT cars together. And they only arrived to like 15, 20 cars.
20, I think.
They had to put the GT Cup cars with the Masters Endurance Legend to arrive to 12 cars. And the sports car, they used to be the biggest grid, 7 cars. I mean, what's the point?
I'm Dutch.
Yeah.
I worked for several years for the organization. So for me, it also really hurts when I see what's happening. But what you see the last 3-4 years since the organization isn't anymore from the Dutch ARC and Circuit Zandvoort, but from the Dutch Grand Prix organization, you really see a complete different situation, and that makes it like they don't feel the atmosphere of the historics, because it's more like an normal event without any passion, and that is also what you see now on the paddock. There is no atmosphere. No,
absolutely.
And that really hurt. And then I still am really happy as Dutchman that it brings a lot of spectators.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
You can only do it once, because you don't pay for what you saw now.
No, I mean, next year, if they don't change something, I don't think they're going to have all those spectators they had this year. Probably, as I said, this is the last time that they can attract so many spectators. And, but as I said, I don't know. I'm not an organizer. I don't know what they should do. Stop 1 second.
He wants the engine calendar.
But how do you see then the situation now with Spa, the 6 hours?
Yeah.
Diogo brings now a Formula 1 grid to Spa. Is it possible to have and Spa and Estoril with the same cars, with that amount of kilometers between both circuits?
I think what Diogo's doing is clever. He doesn't say that he's a Formula 1 grid organizer. He is an organizer. He builds up his own meetings, and then he says, well, I have space. Shall we do an F1 race? And then he calls all the people he knows and said, I'm doing a race in Estoril. That's how I started. Would you like to come? And I think Estoril is with Peter Otto, isn't it? Yeah. So how many cars, how many Peter Otto customers have Formula 1s in their garage that they cannot bring to Peter Otto because there's no an F1 grid in Peter Otto? Lots. So Diogo is very clever. And I think what he did with Estoril was mega, especially the first time. Because the first time, I don't know if you know about it, but I know only because my customer, Fred, wanted to go. Everything was free. a part of transport. You have to organize your own transport, but then entry was free. There was the hospitality, that was free. Everything was free, everything was paid.
It was paid by Cascais.
Yeah. So that's the first step. And he said, okay, I've got like 20, 25 cars. Great. Let's make it an yearly thing. Obviously now paying, because he spoke with everyone and said, yeah, it's fine. So that's what he's doing. And then Masters decided to go away from probably the most entered weekend. Because everyone thinks that Silverstone the most entered weekend, but it's not. Silverstone looks like, because it's massive, it's a massive event. So you don't really see that in Masters sports car there are only 15 cars. Because whatever is around the whole event, you don't see that. You see just, wow, there are Formula 1 sports car, modern cars, pre-65 Formula 1 cars, pre-war cars, sports 50 sports car. You just see that. You don't see the amount of cars that actually are in every grid. Spa always brought the biggest entry for all the grids for Masters. Formula 1 is probably the only place where they can do a race for touring cars and a race for GT cars. And they decided to drop it. Why? So
I understand it a bit, because since they started to skip the Sunday and gave that as track day to a Belgian organizer, you really see dropping all the entries. So I understand that, but next to that situation, it was really always a good event.
It's always been a good event. Why they dropped the entries? Because you had to be there from the Tuesday. But why do you have to be there from the Tuesday? Because you want to do the test day. Now, do you really need test days? Now you know your car, okay? You know Spa. You've been there forever. So you don't have to be there. You don't have to organize the test day on a Wednesday. Divide the grids. Make probably less grids, but divide the grids in 3 days. Every event should be always 3 days. Thursday setup, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, they moved 1 day behind, so, okay, from Wednesday, but it's just the teams that have to be there on Wednesday. Then it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, the 6 hours used to be, well, it is still for me the best race in the world. Okay, and yeah, probably the reason, probably because of moving everything to Saturday, it took a little bit of that because it was nice to have the race on a Saturday evening, and then on a Sunday there was still something going on. So yeah, I agree, that wasn't the smartest move, but I still think that the 6 hours itself, the actual race, is probably one of the best, and I think that Diogo would have a good grid of Formula 1s there.
Can work?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
We'll
so.
see this one
Because no, because I think there's something else that weekend that he's attending. So he's not. I don't think he's doing it. But we will see it this weekend in Spa for the Formula 1 demo, and see what he wants to do. But I think that Diogo could do something good, and I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying things because of what I see and what I think, and I always say what I think. I have good relationships with everyone because of this reason, I think, and I don't think it was a smart move, but let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen next year.
See it in September.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, so.
But you started with a T70.
Yeah.
You do now a lot of Formula cars also and Group C. What brings the most passion for you? Which car is nice to work on?
To be honest, everyone. I'm not joking. Everyone. Everyone give me something. Every car has something to tell. I love historic cars for this reason. When I work on, when we got the Group C car, I always wanted to work on a Group C car, but Simon never had one, never had a customer with a Group C car. So when Alejandro decided to buy one, I was so excited, and me and Luis, we looked for different cars, and we found this one, and this one is actually a car with good history. So I was saying, when we got this car has a really good history, because this chassis number 3 of the 1988 Group C Spice, won the championship with Ray Bellman and Gordon Spice, and they won the C2 class, obviously, and they won the C2 class at Le Mans in '88. And then he finished second in '89 and third in 1990. So 3 years in a row on the podium at Le Mans for the 24 hours in the class C2. And when I got the car and I started working on it, for me was touching a piece of history. Was, wow, this car was running at Le Mans in '88 and he actually won the race. And that's why I am I pay a lot of attention on details. I want the car to look exactly the way they looked when they were racing in period. And I got that from Simon. Simon is like this. Simon is the person that everything needs to be the way it was. Then yes, we can develop it. We can make it faster. We got all the machinery and the knowledge and the technical knowledge and the engineering knowledge today that is probably better than what it used to be 30, 40 years ago to make the car better, but without taking the soul away from the car. And he was he was paying a lot of attention on that, and I think I got that from him. So every single car that is here tells me a story. This one was Derek Daly car. He raced in Monaco. Not a lot of success, but still, it was there in '81. The March 793. That car is the only car that ran with the Spice engine in 1979. It's the only March 793 that actually raced with the Spice engine, because they all had Toyota. And it's unique. And yeah, that didn't have a lot of success either, but it's a unique car. And I looked and I sourced for a lot of pictures in period, and the customer as well. So we tried to make the car exactly as it was. The BRM, the Martini, the GT40. We can start with the GT40. Is something amazing about that car. All the other Formula 3s, the Formula 4, the Lotus Elan, every single car gives you something, gives you a story. And I love the way, like looking at the Elan. The Elan or every single Lotus is a good example because of the crazy man behind Lotus. Colin Chapman was a genius. Was crazy, but was a genius. And when you see something, you say, why was it done like that? You think, could be done much better. But every time, and I've got my mechanics saying that, why should we do this when we could do that? And I said, because if he decided to do it like that, there was a reason. So let's sit down and understand why Colin Chapman did it like that. Because every single thing that Colin Chapman did, there was a reason for it. He wasn't doing it because he was waking up one morning and saying, okay, let's do it like that. And that's what I love, that's what I like about all historic cars and the way they've been made, developed in period. It's just something that attracts me. Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, let you say passion. I think that I am one of the luckiest guy in the world because I wake up in the morning and I'm happy to go to work.
You can go to this.
I can come to this, exactly. Because I made my passion my work. And there are a lot of people doing that. So in every single job, I think you love what you're doing as well. but I see myself, as I said, waking up in the morning and wanting to go to work. I don't want to go on holiday. I want to stay at work. My wife doesn't like that, but this is it. This is the thing. I mean, for me, going to Simon every summer, because my friends were saying, but you're not coming to holiday with us, you're going working. Yeah, I'd rather do that. It was the best time. I will never, ever, ever forget those summers in Shepshed at Simon's, because it was just fantastic. And that's why I decided to go back to Italy, is because I woke up one morning and said, fuck, I'm sorry, geez, I'm so in love with what I'm doing that I'm probably missing something. I need to see if I'm missing something. And I wasn't. Yeah, when I started doing something else, I was missing historic motor racing. So.
And it was directly from the first day or after a period?
Okay, now let's give it a little bit of time. Now, I did enjoy working with my father, but it was just not my thing. So when I start doing something, I put everything. I put all myself and everything to do it. And so I was enjoying doing that because it was something completely new. It was, traveling, going to China to see the suppliers, going to Russia to see the suppliers, go to see the customers, talking to the banks, loans, financial, all that was good.
You learned a lot of it. You learned a lot of it.
I learned a lot. As I said, I learned a lot because I didn't know how to run a company. I was working at Simon's. At the end of the month, I was having my wage. That's it. Fine. And I actually understood what it means. So I don't regret it. But obviously wasn't my thing.
And how did you and Louis came together, also with Simon?
Yeah. So I started, as I said, in '96. I think the first time we saw each other but didn't really meet each other was in 2004. Last time I did my summer experience. I went to Dijon for the Grand Prix de l'Âge d'Or, and Grand Prix de l'Âge d'Or was organized by Louis' father. And I think I did meet Patrick, but and Carol, and I think we saw each other, but we didn't really meet. Anyway, in 2005, when I moved to Simon, he came and did exactly the same thing that I used to do. So he came for a summer experience, summer job, and so that's when we met, and I think he did it for another couple of years, and he actually spent time at my place when he was coming for the summer. He wasn't staying at Simon's, but he was staying at my place. So we got we sort of became friends straight away, and he was very young because he was like 15, something like that, and I was 22. So, we were young enough to create a good friendship, and that continued because then when we were going to Toronto, or we were going to Toronto, we were staying at his house in Paris the day before the event started, and then we were going to the Grand Prix de l'Âge d'Or, or the one in October, there was Grand Prix de Bourgogne, historic, something like that. Yeah, and so we were always staying together. And then when I left Simon's, we kept in touch, and that's it. And since then, we carried on our friendship. And then he moved to Geneva to work for the FIA. And even then we stayed a lot in touch because we obviously by then I started my company, so every time I wanted to do something and HTP related or regulations related, I was calling him to have his advice and see and understand how things were working, and then about 3-4 years ago he was starting saying, yeah, I miss this. I would like to work on cars. And I said, well, come and work for me. And it took me 4 years, but then he came. Yeah, he quitted the FIA, and yeah, crazy boy. He quitted a safe job to come to a very to a very messy team. But no, I have to say, since he's here, things have changed completely, because he's actually taking care of the office and everything office related. So suppliers, customers, banks, everything. So I don't have to spend time in the office, and I can concentrate on the work in the workshop.
Since this year, you fully focus on...
Yeah, I just focus on the cars and run the workshop. Basically, he runs the office, I run the workshop. This is the way we decided to collaborate.
And it works.
It works really well. It works really well because customers are happier, because sometimes with the lack of time I had in the workshop and the lack of mechanics, I couldn't always do things the way I wanted it, and sometimes customers were not happy about it. So now I can concentrate fully on make the customers happy, because that's the main thing, basically. Because if a customer is happy,
and you are also...
yeah, exactly. I am also happy, and so yeah, it's this is it.
First results this year were good. The first results this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Fred, in the last 3 seasons we did really well, fighting for the championship all the time. Then when Alejandro bought the Group C, we got introduced to the driving experience of his son that we didn't know. He's really quick.
Okay.
He's really quick.
And you didn't know at all?
Absolutely. I didn't even know he was racing.
Okay.
I met him obviously because he was always coming with his father, but I didn't know he was racing. But he used to race, I think, touring cars in Argentina, something like that. And we went testing in Cremona at the beginning of the year. He jumped in the Formula One. Never driven a manual car, never. And never driven a single seater. And in the wet, and he was on quick times straight away.
You didn't need to adjust at all?
No, he just jumped in a session to understand what was happening, and then when he started pushing on slicks and on a surface, let's say it was dry enough, he was on a big boys times. And then he jumped on a Group C. We didn't have any reference on the Group C, but I thought he was doing well. And then we went to Spa, bang on, 10 seconds quicker than everyone else. Okay, the grid wasn't, the C2 class wasn't the best in terms of competition, but yeah, it was mega. And then we went to Le Mans and we won. It was on the same times, if not quicker, than Jan Magnussen.
That's good.
Yeah. And I have to say, I was very, very impressed with Alejandro, because he was very close to his son times. Something that with this one, he isn't. I don't know if it's because you have a roof on your head, or...
It's more scary.
I don't know. It's he never actually... I think he is more... he feels probably safer pushing more on that one rather than this one. Bear in mind that with this one we always had a lot of problems to start with, and since last year we resolved everything, but I didn't have the chance to actually try it properly. So we're going to Nürburgring next week. So we go to Spa for the demo, and then we go to Nürburgring, and I'm very curious to see how it goes there, because the problem is with that car it can only focus, you can focus just on the driving. With this one, if you have problems, you are focused also on, is the problem gonna come? Am I right? Is the car fine? Can I go? Can I push? It was always a little bit because of the problems. It was just a fuel system problem that we managed to solve. So now that the car is actually working perfectly, I'm very curious to see if it can just focus on the driving and can be with, not saying with the big boys, but you know, top 10. I would be very happy. Oh yeah, absolutely. So.
Then we see that next week.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have the Pietro Vergnano with the Martini. He's Martini Formula 3. He hasn't raced for 10 years. And we went to Paul Ricard, and I have to say I was impressed because every lap was going between, well, the first laps was going like a second quicker every lap, and then he started to find the time, and it was every lap like a tenth, 2/10 quicker, and he was getting closer and closer to the top guys. So I think with a little bit of track time, he can be at the front, and when with the Lamborghini last year, it was fantastic with Chris Milner and Sam Hancock. Sam is fantastic. He's a great driver, a great coach, a great friend, and what I love about Sam is the way he talks to mechanics. He explains very neatly and understandably what the problem is. He always with nice words. He's polite. He's something that you don't see every time.
But he can give feedback that
oh, absolutely,
really adjust the car.
Absolutely. The cars always go faster when he drives it, and I think the job he did with Chris last year was mega, because from 5 seconds gap between Sam and Chris, they closed the season with like 1.5 seconds. Yeah.
It's really developing.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we can actually fight for the top steps. And but Chris had an accident, bless him, and he couldn't race this season. So the car is there. We're gonna test in first week of August and see if he's better, and maybe we can do the last race of the season. We'll see. It's all. But yeah, I have to say that I'm pleased. We have some projects for next season as well. So touch wood, everything is going in the right direction, and yeah, I'm happy about it.